everyone. My name is Tracy Smalls. I'm an author, motivational speaker. Today I am going to be sharing a little bit of information concerning my new book that's going to be available on Amazon April 2020 on Breaking the Chains of a Narcissist. Before I begin this conversation, I'd have to disclose that the narcissist in my life was never clinically diagnosed. So wanted to put that out there. I don't want anyone to think that this particular individual was ever clinically diagnosed. However, I must say, from my experience and what I've encountered being in a romantic relationship with this individual, I understand a whole lot more who I was involved with, according to what I've read, again, and according to what I've experienced. If anything that I am saying on today resonates with you, you may definitely want to visit the website WebMD, that's webmd.com, to get more information. I'd have to say the purpose for writing this book is simple. I wanted to share information and to inform others that may not realize they are in a relationship with a narcissist. It's not only subject to a romantic relationship, it could be a co-worker, your children, but for me particularly, I was involved in a romantic relationship with a narcissist that nearly destroyed my life. But finding comfort with friends, family, and just sharing information and getting information from others as it pertains to what I dealt with, I was able to get myself through this situation. So the purpose, again, is not to bash anyone because narcissism is a medical, clinical illness. Unfortunately, a lot of people are not diagnosed because they're unaware. They're just simply not aware. So it's not to bash. It's like any other clinical illness. Unfortunately, in the African American community, we see physical abuse as the only form of abuse, but it's so much more to it. It's the mental side of things. It's the emotional abuse. And then also in the African American community, we have a tendency of only thinking of alcohol abuse, anxiety disorders. But narcissism is definitely a clinical illness that folks deal with on a daily basis, and unfortunately, they're unaware. First of all, I like to share briefly how anyone could become attractive to a narcissist. You know, and in some minds, folks may think, well, if this person have a clinical illness, then why in the world would anyone want to be involved with such a person? It's simple. It's easy to become attractive to a narcissist. First of all, let me explain why. The main thing is they idealize you in the very beginning of the relationship. They will make you feel like you're the best and most important person in this world. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. There's absolutely nothing that you could do wrong. So ask yourselves, who wouldn't want to be attractive to a person that's making you feel like you're perfect, you're great, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you? Well, that's the way they get you from the very beginning. And when I say get you, I don't mean it in a condescending way because, again, I am very sensitive to this illness and I wouldn't want to make fun or shed any type of downplay on it. It's a real thing. But I must say, this is how they attract you in the very beginning, idealizing you and making you feel wonderful and great. Now, the flip side of that is once they understand that you're human, you have flaws just like anyone else, then they start devaluing you. And I say this because this is exactly what happened to me. In the very beginning, I was just sweet, charming. I let a whole lot of things go by that I did not address right away, thinking in my mind, as so many women do, we think that if we just ignore it, maybe it'll change. If we just not say anything and just watch it, maybe he would do a little bit better. We as women have got to start taking a stand for ourselves. When we see an issue, when we see a situation, address it immediately. So when I began addressing situations that I knew weren't quite right, he began to devalue me. He saw me just like any other woman. I was the bad person on the block. I was the person that, listen, you're challenging me. This is not what I am going to allow you to do. It became extremely toxic at that moment. Not necessarily physically. I've never had a physical encounter, but I've said and mentioned in a video before, just because a person is not putting a fist to your face doesn't mean that they're not hurting or harming you. Emotional abuse is extremely difficult. I was a woman years ago from the first book that I wrote, Overcoming Destructive Relationships. If anyone is local here, and knew of the Cooper River Bridge, the old bridge, I was a woman that began driving my car across the bridge, wanting to jump out of the car and jump across the bridge. But thank God that particular night, there was one man that just would not allow me out of my car. He thought I was a drunk woman. I wasn't drunk. I was depressed, and I was extremely distraught that night, attempting to take my own life. So emotional abuse is real. It's not something to play with, but I thank God that he gave me the strength to overcome it. This was over 10, maybe 15 years ago, but I made it through it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that can't and don't make it. So just a little bit about that. If any of this resonates with any of you all concerning narcissism, there's the website to visit again. I suggest that you get help if you think that you are in a situation like this, or if you know of anyone that could potentially be in a narcissistic relationship with someone else, to gain help. There's a website, there's support. I suggest that you get yourselves around some really strong people that could help facilitate you getting back on course, because it's very toxic when you're in a relationship with someone like this. Unfortunately, y'all, they don't even realize and understand who they are and what they're doing. Self-consciously, they may, but the hidden and the deep-rooted things behind this illness is serious, and they just truly do not know. I had a young lady ask me, how did you get out of this relationship? Well, I'm going to tell you how. It was my faith in God. It was knowing that I deserved better, and then I had to be willing to allow my heart to hurt so that my soul could heal. Either I was going to stay in this relationship or I was going to get out of it. I had no other options or choices. As I've mentioned, when we meet people, we have to give ourselves times, and I'm speaking particularly to women right now. We have to give ourselves time to understand and know who we're involved with. I can't knock every single man, because there are some great men out here that means well. They're honest and they're extremely sincere. However, with a narcissist, they have no sympathy. They have no empathy for others. They're very manipulating. Those are the type of things that you have to be aware of. You wouldn't know and understand who you're with unless you give yourselves time. Trust is not something that you give freely to others. Trust is something that's earned. And that was almost to my demise because I trusted everything that he said, everything that he did, even when I saw the little things that was not particularly right. I chose to ignore those warning signs. So let's be extremely careful, people, when we make that decision to just forcefully give our trust effortlessly. For me, it was effortless because I believed in him. And that is a crucial mistake that too many of us make, y'all. We have to be vitally careful when we're sharing and giving our hearts and souls to folks like this. That love bombing phase, in the very beginning, they're extremely affectionate. They're nice. They're kind, just like anyone else. But that's the key. This is the key. Giving yourselves time to understand who you're in a relationship with. Briefly, I'd have to share this, and let me just explain how serious this emotional state of mine that I was in. I began to lose my hair. I had restless nights. I began to lose weight. It literally felt like I was going insane because I began to challenge him. At that point, I'm all in. My heart is into it. I'm emotionally invested in it. Don't wait until it gets to that point before you make a decision to start asking questions and not allow anything to slide, as we would say down in the South. Don't let it slide. If you see a situation, confront it immediately, because once you're emotionally invested, it's extremely difficult to break away from it. But again, I had strong women in my life, strong women that supported me. I began to read. I ordered a book. I got all of this information, and writing became therapeutic for me because I wanted to help anyone else that may have been in a situation like this, that needs help, that wants to get out but just don't know how. Again, it was my faith in God. It was knowing that I deserved better, and I had to allow my heart to ache in order for the soul to heal, because I knew walking away would be painful because I loved him. That's where I went wrong. I put too much emotions into it until my intellect went out the door, when I knew there was just so many things that was wrong that needed to be corrected. So if any of this information that I've shared so far resonates with you, or you know of anyone that's in a situation like this, I would suggest that you visit the website again, webmd.com. If you need professional help, I would suggest and recommend that you reach out to a therapist. There's a great one with Sweetgrass Solutions, LLC. Her name is Dr. Yolanda Blaine. She could be reached also at 843-200-2224 if you need any type of support. Again, my name is Tracy Smalls. If you need to contact me, I am out on Facebook and YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. It's Tracy Smalls. There's several videos out there on that channel. You can also reach me at booksuccess792@gmail.com or contact me at 843-864-8891. It has been a pleasure sharing this information with you all on today. I thank the individuals that have allowed me to share. This was a great experience for me, and you guys, get the help that you need. Support is out there. There's a multitude of people that is dealing with the same situation. Narcissism. NPD. Narcissism. Get help. Get yourselves together, because your life literally depends on it. Thank you, guys.